Welcome. This course is about development of basic prompting strategies needed by any software engineer. We will be combining two powerful tools in artificial intelligence and software development, which is ReactJS. As a software engineer, your ability to combine these tools will be valuable for your future professional growth. This course is divided into series of video for easy comprehension. Make sure to watch all the videos till the end. The topic for today is application setup. What is the plan for today? I'm glad that we will be setting up our application today. It is long overdue. So I will first start with the description of our landing page. Of course, this is what you will see first. So why not starting with it? Next, I will then discuss what are the essentials of setting up an application. This will inform us about what I will later add into the prompt generation setting. Remember, the prompt generation tool that we will be building in this course is for you and any other developer to generate effective prompt. As you will see, there are a lot of demos, demo 1 and demo 2. I will demo the application setup and also demo the building of the landing page. Let's get started. Feel free to go back and forth to understand every section. This is our landing page. It will have a nav bar, a landing page section with several links card to navigate to different parts of the application. It will also have a footer. So the expectation is if anyone gets to this landing page and click on any of the link card, it will take them to the prompt generation page. What are the essentials for setting up an application? First is to identify the framework. The framework are very essential in today's software development. There are numerous frameworks available for software development, each of them catering for different programming language and domain. Here are some of the most common and widely used frameworks in various areas of front-end development. React, which we'll be using in this course, is a JavaScript library for building user interface, often used for single-page application. You have other alternatives like Angular, which is a comprehensive front-end framework maintained by Google to build dynamic web application. You also have Vue.js and so on. The second thing to also do is to have a name for your what? For your application. You must have a unique name, a name that is attractive. In our own case, the name is going to be PromptX. Then you decide on the dependencies. In the context of software development, dependencies refer to the external component or libraries that are a piece of software relies on. So the software relies on external libraries that you use in your what? In your developmental process. These external dependencies are usually pre-existing code. They are pre-existing, developed by somewhere else. So you take benefit of that so as to make developmental process very fast. Also, you have to decide on routing. Do you need to add to your what? To your application. Hardly will you see an application that will just have only one thing, no dynamic. So there will be dynamic. So you have different components, different things that you build piece by piece that you want them to show based on the user's interaction. And the routing will take you to those different pages. And these are also components that you have to also decide on. In our own case, when we are setting up, what we want to expand on the dependencies. We have to talk, I'm going to mention what to be used for the routing itself. And the state management can also, you can decide on what you want to use for state management. And for styling, there are also dependencies, third parties that have been developed like Bootstrap. And also for API like GraphQL and issues. So these are things that you need to decide on. In our own case, we'll be talking about the navbar, as you have earlier seen on our landing page. You're going to have a land bar. You're going to have a navbar. You're going to have landing page. We're going to have component, the link cards. We're going to have footer and also the essentials, which we'll be touching on later on. So you can also use a structured and unstructured prompting approach. So this will definitely give the same thing. As previously discussed, structured prompting is preferred because it allows us to have design. And this design will be used in our generation of prompts. As you can see, once I have a structured approach, when somebody select any framework, I can have the system to identify that and be able to generate an effective prompt on it. So for the first demo number 1, which is where we are setting up our React application. Let's go to ChatGPT and prompt ChatGPT to guide us through setting up our application. This ChatGPT, if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, go and look at my video on setting up ChatGPT and look at previous videos how we have used ChatGPT. So let's get started. I'm going to zoom out so that we can see very well. So as our first prompt is to develop a software that is to ask ChatGPT to generate what is going to guide us towards making our software. So let me copy our prompt to get us started. So I've copied the prompt that we are going to use to generate our application. So the prompt reads, guide me through creating an application. The framework, I said the framework ReactJS. The name of my application is prompt X. To be more specific, application is from X. The dependencies, I want to use dependencies like React Router. I don't want to use Bootstrap or Axio. You can decide on that, but you can leave it there. But let me just take it out. So because I want to just use pure CSS for my styling, but you can specify that in case of your application requirement. And you can specify every other dependencies that you want. And I also specify some of the components that I already have in my head that I want ChatGPT to just do for me. So we have functional essential, application essential, layout essential, and I also say you should have routing. So let's get started. Once I click ChatGPT, start generating, it's going to guide me through it, and I will definitely copy this one and get things done. So when we look at it from the top, it says want me to use this to set up my applications. Use nps create React apps, and it knows the app's name to be prompt X. Prompt X. I think there's a typo in my this, so I've just changed the name on the fly. And one thing again is that with the advent with the new React, they don't want kind of a capital letter in it, so I'll change that to small letter. So, and it also says install the dependencies that is required. So let me copy this and go to Visual Studio Code. This is a new blank Visual Studio window. In the terminal, I'm going to say copy this and change this one to prompt X. Click that, then it's going to load and it's going to generate me an application which I can view from here. So let's wait for it. So it says I'm running a lower version of Node. Make sure you have Node installed so that you have higher version. So I'm going to use, say you should use something else, which I already have pre-installed in my system. Then I'm going to run the code again. It's generating it. It might take a while. So let's go back to the page and look at what ChatGPT previously gave us, so to guide us through. So this is my npm install. I'm going to go install the dependencies. Remember, I set this dependency in my prompt, and ChatGPT go ahead and generate an app.js, putting the routing to the landing page. ChatGPT knows the landing page is the landing page. You put the default path to that. And keep moving on. So here we have how to start our application, npm start. This is where we're going to start the application. So let's look at whether the Visual Studio is ready, is still running. I'm going to pause the video so that we can, we won't be waiting too much. So my app is already set up. So I'm already in here, so I can check it out. Then say cd, change directly to prompt X. So I'm now in it. So the next thing, according to ChatGPT, is to install my dependency. So I'm going to come in here, copy here, and paste it. Then I'm going to run my dependency installation. After that, as my dependency is already installed, that is pretty fast. So the next thing is I want to be able to see my folder on this side. So let me quickly do that quickly. Now I've opened up my folder and I can see it on the side. These are the things that GPT generated for me. It have app.js. So if I run that, npm start following ChatGPT guidelines, says they use I need to create this component, which is app router component. But before doing that, let me run my application first. Just to run it, npm, just to see whether everything has been generated successfully. So it's opening up the page. If I see it running the default page like this, that means I've been able to set up the ReactJS application, and is up and running. And it's up and running. Make sure you get to these spots. So before we move on, so the next thing we want to do is to now start doing the routing part. So it create a component that will house all my routing. So I'm going to do the same thing like that. So it says inside your source folder, create a new file called approuter.js, which I'm going to do that. And I'm going to copy paste this into it. So here in my source folder right here, it's a new file. Paste that into it. I click that, then I come in here and I copy that. So once I copy that, I paste it, I save it. So this should navigate to a landing page section, which I've not yet created. So I will have to create that also. So before going on there, let me go in here. It says import this to the import the app router that has just been created in the app.js file. So I have to set that up also. I copy this one, then I go to my app.js, I replace it with it. So I replace that, I save it. There are a couple of cleanups that might have to be done because you see there is error right here. And the reason for that error is that I think because ChatGPT 3.5 was trained in 2021, so there's some update in the routing, and this is about this switch. So always use route instead of switch. So I'm going to use route, import route, and replace it with these. These replace here, and this you put elements right here. So you have that. Then landing page also need to be created also. So let's get that. So let me just copy that and ask ChatGPT. It's still going to be given error because we don't have this landing page. You see from the error, we don't have that created already. So let me ask ChatGPT to create the components. So I have it in my prompt. I will just grab it and go back into my prompt and ask ChatGPT to specifically create those components. So here, this is the previous prompt I have. Gonna come in here. So components. So create the components. Let me just ChatGPT create the following components. I put right there. Click it. So ChatGPT will guide me towards creating those components. So it says, if you want to create a landing page, this is what you should do. So I'm going to copy this and name it landing page.js. Go to name it landing page.js. So I can come here, I can put a folder right here. Put a folder right here, I call them components. And I'm going to come in here and I put landing page component. So the file in here, copy this, paste it right there. I save it. So and then I have to import these in my router right here. My router right here, because the path has changed a little bit. So the way to do that, delete these, then put this one right there. It's going to import it. So when we save it, everything should work successfully right now. So let's go back to our application and see, refresh it. We want to, okay, but anytime we update this routing, we need to restart it so that we can rebuild it and have it working successfully. So I'm going to do npm run start one more time. So, and we should be able to see everything working smoothly. So one thing again that you have to do apart from changing the switch to route is to add the angle bracket around your component right here. And after that, you can see everything is working fine right now, which is you have the welcome page and that is coming from the landing page. So the landing page is showing perfectly. So you can then add other routing to it. So let's say you have a nav bar and stuff. Let me go back to my ChatGPT prompt. This is, I have the nav bar. Let me copy the code. Let me create the nav bar components and just add it to it. Then I copy the code right here, paste it, save it. Then I can import the nav bar in my code, in my the app router here. Or I can place it here because it's not part of the routing. I can just place it right here. So it's a nav bar component. So it's imported right there. So then I should see on my page right here, the navbar component should also appear at the top right there. So when we go to the page, we should see the navbar, but since nothing is in navbar yet, so the navbar is currently empty. Let me just add code something right here. It's a navbar so that we can see something right there. H1, say navbar to show You see, so the nav bar is here. The same thing with the footer. We can also do the same thing. Let's look at what ChatGPT asks us to put next. So it's the footer also. It's basically the same thing. We can just copy. These are just building the skeleton. This is the setting up our application. These are things that need to be done that are very essential to get our application set up. So we will still come back to each of these components and build them to look really great. I can just put, or maybe let's say H2 right here, H2 right and say footer right there. So we come in here, go back to our page. We need to import the footer in our app.js. So that is what we going to do right here. So we need to have the path imported. So we save that. So we have the footer. So we have the landing page here, we have the nav bar here, we have the footer right here. So all we just need is now fill these up. And that is what we're going to be doing in our demo 2. So let's get started. So what we have in mind to do with our landing page? The first is that we need remember that we need the link card. So we need to create a link card, which this landing page will now use and build on, create the list from it. So let's prompt ChatGPT to do that for us. So let's first of all create a link bar. Let's go to ChatGPT, say also create a link card component that display title in it. Also, we say that display title use flex box because we want to padding with height and width, what ChatGPT will give it to us. So we're just trying to make that link card to look really great. So this is our link card. Use a flex box. If you get in the title, use the flex box and it's use specific height and width. So let's create that. So go to the link card.js. After you create the link card.js, back to our component, we come in here, create a new file. We say .js, then we copy this, then we paste it. So we have our linker.js. The next thing is we need to import it in our landing page. Let's import it in our landing page. So we have to pass the title for it. We just say title for now. Let's add code our title to be welcome. Or let me say function. One of the things that we want to develop is a function. There is an error showing something that there is an error. So what does the error say? It says title is not defined. Okay, we need to put const title right here. So that's defined. So let's go back to our page. You see, we have our card. We have our card. So this is looking pretty nice. So it has function in it. So now we want to have multiple of this. So this is where another technique now comes into play. We want this to inject an array of this list into it. So we want to modify, we actually want to modify our landing page to inject this title. So we have list of title that we will give to it. So we're going to have another prompt that will be like this. So let's go to ChatGPT and we have the prompt to say, okay, refactor the landing page component. So given a landing page, since we already modify our component, it's our landing page, it's always good to give the current state of the landing page to you. So we copy the landing page, we put the landing page right here. So given this landing page to be this. This is the landing page. So we want to refactor it. So what do we want to do? We want you to set a prop of topics, or we say array of title. So, and these are the title that we want to have in the list. And then the child components will be, we can just take these out, that will be displayed. Let's see what ChatGPT is very smart. It's going to generate something for us, and we will see what that looks like. You see, ChatGPT goes into it. You say there is a link, there is the titles of array, and that array will be mapped on by this, and it's going to use our link card to actually show it. So ChatGPT, without even giving too much instruction, was able to figure things out by itself. So let me copy that and see how that looks like. So we're going to replace our landing page with this. So everything built successfully, and we have all this. You see, we have everything mapped out, over one another. So another thing we want you to do is to style the landing page so that these are wrapped. These are wrapped, they stand separate, they kind of cover the whole space, and that is wrapping. So all we just need to do is to say, can you use wrap in the style of the landing page? So let's go back to the landing page, the prompt that we use for the landing page. So let me bring this down. See, so I say style the landing page to wrap the link cards. Let's see what it's going to give it to us. So it's going to try to style it. So it's providing a style functionality. You see, add a new styling for it. So let's copy that and see what that gives. So that's our landing page. We save it, compile successfully. Let's see. Oh, wow, it's wrapped. You see, everything is wrapped. We can decide to change and maybe change the display area or whatever. And we can also put some gap in between this. So to do this, we can just put some gaps in between it, most especially for the, once we give margin around this, we will see those gaps. So I can just go to my link card and add margin around it. So because it has width, so it doesn't have any margin. So let me just imagine. So margin is 1 pixel or 2 pixel. So you put a little bit of margin, a little bit of separation. You can put, let me put 5. So it look more the skin. So looking nice. Make it 20. Yep. So everything is coming. So this is our landing page. And the next thing is we want to add navigation such that once we click this, you should navigate to the title. So, and that is about that's what we need to show up in our components so that we can just wrap things up. We're going to leave it here like this. So this is, we are wrapping up with our landing page. We leave our landing page. You say later on, we look at navbar, we look at the footer. I don't want to take too much of your time. So this is it for this week. We can then wrap it up here. Don't want to take too much of time. So the next time is going to be layouting prompt essential. That is our next topic. Please hope to meet you next week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.